Gabby Gabby might be one of the strangest antagonists to ever come out of a Pixar movie, because she has her motivations that make her do what she needs to do, in this case stealing Woody's voice box, but I don't think she really counts as a villain, because she has her plan and she sets out to do it, but sometimes throughout the movie you even feel sorry for her and want her to get the happy ending that she deserves, after being in an antique shop for so many years. And all she wants is to have a working pull string so a kid will notice her, because she's never been played with before. But here's the thing. According to the Toy Story features, it is revealed that Gabby Gabby did have an owner at some point in time, but her pull string didn't work, and she was given to an antique shop. So, who was the original owner of Gabby Gabby? Well, today, we find out. So let's have a look at the evidence. When Gabby Gabby is talking to Woody, she says that she was made in the late 50s, and she's been living in the antique shop ever since. But hang on, that doesn't add up, because on the door of the antique store it says that it was established in 1986. Now, 1986 is probably just a little Easter egg to when Pixar first started, but it doesn't make any sense, because what happened to Gabby Gabby before she was in the antique store? Because if she was made in the late 50s, then there's still over 30 years until she's supposed to be in that particular antique store, and it hasn't even opened yet. So what happened to all the time before she was in the store? Now, the obvious answer is that maybe it was another antique store, or she was in that antique store but it might have changed the name or owners, or maybe all those years she had an owner. But if she had an owner and a kid for so long, surely she would remember, unless she lied to Woody to get his voice box, but I don't think this would be the case. She says to Woody that she wants to be loved as much as he did, and she would do anything to get a voice box so a kid will finally notice her. And with a voice box, it is a way that a toy can interact with their owner. But who then? Who could have been this person that owned her? Now, first off, it has to be someone in a Pixar movie, because it has to try and fit into the Pixar Theory, which, if you don't know, it's basically a theory that all of the Pixar movies take place in the same universe, starting with The Good Dinosaur and ending with Monsters, Inc. So we have to be looking for a character who was around the mid to late 50s. So what about Ellie? Now, I know the movie Up takes place in 2009, but she could have owned Gabby Gabby back when she was a kid, maybe? And to that I say, no, she couldn't have. Because Ellie's more of the outdoor adventurous type, and I don't think she would have owned a doll. And plus, the beginning of Up takes place in 1930, so we'll have to roll that one out. But there is a Pixar movie that is set very close to the late 50s, and that is The Incredibles. So who in The Incredibles could Gabby Gabby have belonged to? Well, what about Violet? Now, there are plenty of evidence suggesting that Gabby Gabby was owned by Violet, so just wait up. Now, in the first Incredibles movie, Violet is 14 years old, and it is believed that The Incredibles is set in the year 1962, because if you look very carefully at a newspaper that Mr. Incredible is reading, it says on the front, May 16, 1962. And at the start of The Incredibles, superheroes were legal and were free to save the world. That was until the superheroes went into hiding around 1947, which is the same year that Bob and Helen got married. And then a year later, they would have had Violet, placing it roughly around the year 1948. Are you following? Good. Now, Gabby Gabby says she's made in the late 50s, which is around the year 1957 to 1959. So Violet would have had to be around 9 years old, maybe a little older. So that is when she would have owned Gabby Gabby. So it is solved. Gabby Gabby was owned by Violet. But I'm still not done with this theory, because there is something else that could work into this theory. Now, we know that Gabby Gabby had a defective voice box, meaning when Violet bought it, she would have been broken. Well, what if Gabby Gabby wasn't broken? What if when she was bought, she was unbroken? Now, we know that Bob and Helen have super children, and this can sometimes lead to a bit of chaos around the house. Now, we know that in The Incredibles 2, Jack starts developing powers. Now, we know that Jack has many powers because he's a baby and he hasn't really developed a personality yet. But when he is older, he will probably only have one, maybe two sets of powers. Because in The Incredibles, their superpowers are based off their personality. Bob is the strong dad, Helen is the mum trying to hold the family together and stretch into lots of places at different times to keep her family in line. Violet is a self-conscious teenager who can shoot force fields and turn invisible, and Dash is an energetic 10-year-old with lots of energy, so he can run really fast. When Violet was 9 years old, Dash would still probably be developing his powers and personality, because we know that in The Incredibles 2, Jack has lots of trouble controlling his powers. So I can imagine that Violet is playing with her new Gabby Gabby toy, and Dash gets jealous, and Violet and Dash might have got into a fight with Dash developing powers, and he might have accidentally broken Gabby Gabby's voice box with one of his unpredictable powers. But wouldn't Violet just keep Gabby Gabby? I mean, we know that Gabby Gabby is a perfectly fine toy, apart from her broken voice box, and so maybe she just would have kept Gabby Gabby. And to that I say, probably not. We know that the Pars are always having to move around to different houses because Bob keeps accidentally revealing his identity, and if they are having to quickly move around, an effective toy with a broken voice box is probably not the number one thing that they're going to keep. So they probably would have had to give Gabby Gabby away, and over a period of time of around 50 years, because we know Toy Story 4 is set in 2007, ending up in the antique store. But wouldn't Gabby Gabby remember having an owner, even just for a little period of time? And to that I say no. In the Toy Story universe, toys live off children playing with them and memories of people. That's why they always love to be played with. Now, because Violet and Dash are so young at this time, they might not have remembered this one of many events involving unpredictable powers and just forgot Gabby Gabby. That would also mean that Gabby Gabby wouldn't remember them, and she just would have thought that her non-working voice box was just a manufacturing mistake, and she didn't realise that her previous owner was none other than Violet Parr. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe for more great theories like this one, and make sure to comment and give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next Friday.